Hey yo, it's your boy Ancient Albatross here by himself tonight, flying solo. Unfortunately, the rest of the Cypher Unlimited crew is occupied. Anthony is babysitting and Dean is stuck somewhere, hopefully okay. I'm assuming his car broke down, but we did not hear much about it. But yeah, before we get started, just a quick reminder, be sure to follow us here on Twitch, subscribe to us over on YouTube, and to definitely go check us out on the Anywhere door. That is Monte Cook Games' platform on Moonbeam, which is a new streaming service. But Monte Cook Games is trying to gather as many MCG content creators in one spot. Currently, there's about 15 of us on there as designated streamers. So if you're interested in Monte Cook Games content, definitely check out the Anywhere door. We're currently live there as well. And another quick reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the Discord for CypherCon. Player signups are still going, and they will be going for, I believe, 3 more weeks. And you also can sign up for our raffle, where you can join a game run by Sean K. Reynolds of Monte Cook Games, designer of books like Godforsaken, Stay Alive, a bunch others that I'm not going to rattle off because I'll probably not get it right. And again, I'm all alone, so I'll leave it at those 2 that I know. But yeah, he is running 2 fantasy games during CypherCon. One on Friday, the September 19th of the con, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then a second game Sunday, 1 p.m. the 21st, the weekend of the con, September 21st. So yeah, if you haven't joined the Discord to sign up for the raffle, definitely go do that. You just gotta sign up to be a player, but you can follow the link there to join the Discord. Oh, excuse me. The link to Discord. You can join the Discord if you haven't already, and follow the directions on there to get yourself situated in the con and join that raffle. There's about 35, 36 people entered already, so good amount of people. But yeah, I think that's all the reminders I have for everyone. So let's dive into this. Oh yeah, definitely sign up for games too if you haven't, as Crazy Weasel says. If you haven't, sign up. If you have already, sign up for more if you can. But yeah, let's dive into what we're here to talk about tonight. Monte Cook put out a new Substack article, and I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I think this is one of the first Substack articles we're seeing about the new Cypher edition. Normally we've been getting emailed updates and design diary entries on the Monte Cook Games website. But yeah, to this time around, and this was of like a few 3-4 days ago, I think this was posted. I can look once I actually go look at the entry there. But yeah, he actually posted to Substack this time, Monte Cook, and this time it's in regards to Cyphers and the new edition, and I guess his mindset behind it and whatnot. But we'll just dive right in. And hey, Kaiserek, thank you for stopping by, saying hi. Yeah, and thank you for that sub, quackers. Really appreciate it. But let's dive right into this article. Not gonna look at chat for a while because I'm gonna have the article up. But the title of the article, and let me link it one more time, just in case you missed it. There you go. And if you're on YouTube, it'll be down below. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive right on in. It'll be the last link there for the Substack. This article here is called, actually I need to take these sunglasses off. This is Monte Cook Games Substack, which is itself titled RPG Design Theories. And this article itself is titled, It's Right There in the Name. And this actually came out just yesterday, apparently, August 4th. So cool. And it's right there in the name as a title. And here we go. The game is called Cypher, so if we're monkeying with the rules, we'd better make sure that ciphers work in the game and work really well. A common observation from players is that the concept of ciphers works well in some genres, but not others. In fantasy, for example, there are potions and scrolls and whatnot, but in a modern game, what are they? We've had answers to that question for over the years, but I decided to explore those answers and basically rebuild ciphers from the ground up. Ciphers are abilities that your character has that change. The goal of including ciphers is to spice up the game so that players can pull out something surprising to make an encounter or a situation more interesting. In other games, you might deal with the same challenge the same way every time, but with ciphers, you've got different tricks up your sleeves. You're on an alien planet with weird monsters that attack again and again. Sure, your warrior can shoot the monster each time, but what if the second time they've got the ability... Sorry, I lost my spot. Sure, your warrior can shoot the monster each time, but what if the second time they've got the ability to ask the GM a question about the beast to get more intel? What if one of those times they can foil the monster's main attack and drive it away? Or stun it long enough that their allies can make short work of it? Those are all very different encounters, and it's you, the player, not the GM, making them different. So we took a concept called subtle ciphers and highlighted it. A subtle cipher isn't a potion or a device. It's a sudden burst of insight so a character can best utilize the conditions around them. It's a surge of adrenaline or a second wind. It's luck. It's all those things that go into stories that are so very difficult to mechanize in a game. These different kinds of ciphers all offer abilities that don't need the supernatural to explain them. Even a character in a James Bond-style espionage game can use one to regain points to a pool, get a one-time boost to a task, or gain a momentary bit of inspiration, mechanically represented by asking the GM a question. There are many different ciphers, and while none of them are going to break the game, they're going to be useful and interesting. Ciphers are the things a character can use to seize the moment and take advantage of something that isn't a long practiced skill or an ability they've trained themselves to use, though they have those too, of course, and can always rely on them. In other words, a character's got a bunch of stuff on their character sheet they can consistently rely on, and then a couple of wild cards that change from time to time. These keep the game from ever getting stale, and they ensure that everyone's got something special and different to do. And every time a character rests significantly, as in an hour or more in narrative time, they may get more ciphers to use, so players are encouraged to use them. This is the default way ciphers operate in the game. The idea that ciphers are physical objects is the exception, not the rule, used in genres where they are appropriate. These are called manifest ciphers, and characters can have a mixture of the two kinds. Manifest ciphers are more dramatic. They make things explode, cause them to shrink down to a tenth of their size, or conjure magical power that imbues a weapon. In a game where there's magic at work, ultra tech at play, or any kind of special weird devices, they offer interesting alternative options, and again, give characters capabilities that go against type, so a fighter can read someone's mind, or a star pilot can heal their friend's wounds. Manifest ciphers can absolutely turn the tide of a single encounter or save a PC's life if used well. Grant powers that almost certainly require some kind of supernatural or high tech to explain, but the majority of genres allow for such things if you want them. We've also organized cipher effects into categories of power, reflected with cipher power levels, or with cipher levels, excuse me. One cool thing about this is that characters that can make ciphers, whether a witch brewing potions or a tech cobbling together a jury-rigged device, have useful and meaningful guides for how powerful the cipher should be. There are even ways a spellcasting character can draw upon these cipher categories to choose a specific cipher to cast as a spell. And remember, with genre abilities, anyone in a fantasy game can become a spellcaster, at least a little, if they want to. Overall, by reworking and recategorizing ciphers, we've made it even easier to reflect abilities, supernatural or not, in different settings. And since both ciphers and differing settings are at the core of the game, it just makes sense. And that is the end of the article there. And it's definitely very interesting. It doesn't give us a ton of new information about ciphers coming into the new book, more about, I guess, describing them better and then also organizing them better. I believe, again, if we do see the organization tip the way it says, wait, let me pull up the exact wording here because that was very nice the way it sounded. Reworking and recategorizing ciphers. So that definitely sounds like, oh, and then he also said, where was it? There was another thing they said. We've organized cipher effects into categories of power. Yeah, it kind of sounds like they did the same thing with ciphers that they did with abilities in the CSR, where they're grouped by low, mid, high. And that's super interesting. I love to see that because, again, the way it's described in this article, and the way a lot of us view it, but it's not, I guess, the mainstream way of viewing it, is that these ciphers and whatnot, they are your character's abilities. A lot of people think of them as, one-off weapons, or excuse me, items or whatever that you can use. Use them and they're gone, and that's it. They're just an item, right? They think of it akin to like described earlier in the article, potions and scrolls and whatnot. But if you're looking at it in the lens of an ability, it definitely makes sense to group them the same way you have the abilities group. Like, a subtle cipher that heals your pools a little bit is not going to be on the same power level as a detonation cipher or whatever thing that causes a huge explosion. So I'm definitely excited to see them, go back to recategorize them. Because as a GM, as someone who does solo play a lot, it's nice to know, like, oh hey, I want to give my character, or the characters, if I'm playing, running a game, I want to give them something not too strong, so I can look at the the low power ciphers. Or they're killing a BBEG, let me put a high power cipher on the loot list or whatever have you. And again, guys, feel free to chime in about this article here, but I think that's really the biggest takeaway here, is that they're going to be recategorized and by power level, because Monte Cook is trying to correlate them more to abilities. And I guess another big part is they're going to be describing him better, I guess, because again, this actually wasn't my train of thought, and I'm glad he kind of spelled it out word for word here. Let me go back and read exactly what he said here. Am I going to be able to find it? No, but I'll just, paraphrase. Begins talking about subtle ciphers and wanting to highlight them, and then he mentions that manifest ciphers, they fit in settings where they're appropriate, and they are the exception, not the rule. So it seems like in their minds, or I guess in Monte Cook's mind, because again, this is an article directly from him, in his mind, subtle ciphers were the main ciphers. That was the go-to way to incorporate ciphers into your characters, into your games or whatever. But it's seeming like that I lost my train of thought. Damn. This stream of consciousness is rough. But yeah, I am quite excited that he's going to be explaining them better, and that he will give more guidance. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying, that he'll give more guidance into better wrap people's brains around using subtle ciphers, because we get that discussed about a lot. Like, people really can't wrap their minds around what they are or how to implement them. So it would be nice to see a deeper dive from Monty, or whoever written in the book, about, hey, this is the mindset behind subtle ciphers, and and of course giving us more of them. But yeah, it's definitely exciting, and it's gonna be cool to see all the reorganization happening in the new Cypher edition. And again, there wasn't a super ton of information in this article. And again, anybody feel free to chime in and tell me I missed something, or there was a little nugget of assumption here to speculate on. But I think the biggest focal point was that, again, they're gonna be recategorizing by power. Again, we've also organized cipher effects into categories of power, which is awesome. But he's mentioned cipher levels, so I wonder if cipher levels are going to become more static than a rolled thing. I guess that's something I guess we can kind of dig our teeth into for speculation, because if he's grouping them by power, like cipher levels, like he mentions it directly in the article, does that mean that these cipher levels are going to correlate more to how strong the cipher is? On that power level scale of low, medium, low, mid, high, or whatever it is. Because that would be interesting. Because again, cipher you try to roll as little as possible, I guess, as the GM. Like it's the whole Cyphers is gonna roll with any dice. So taking away the need to roll for Cypher levels, because I know some GMs have their players roll it out like when they receive it, but a lot of GMs, myself included, will roll them out before the game to save time. So just giving Cyphers a static level could be interesting. Like I could see them giving like the rolled value like they did before, like it's a D6 plus 1 like power level, and then in parentheses give a static number that's like what they feel like it should be on that range. So for that 1d6 plus 1 roll, they'll say, hey, parentheses, we recommend 4 or something. That could be interesting, giving things more of a static number. What do you think? I'm gonna be real, and I like to be fully transparent. I did not listen to it. I was more focused on making it sound better, because if you looked at the video when we first got it, I could not hear them like at all. So my focus as the tech guy was making sure people who are listening to our videos or watching them could actually listen to and watch them. I think I did it. But yeah. So Zeal Zaddy, we are starting to start at 9:30 Eastern. Because my girlfriend gets out of work where we had normally would ended at our last time frame of 10 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, we had to push back to starting at 9:30 instead, or 8:30, whatever it is. My mind is gone right now on time zones. 30 minutes earlier. So I can get out of here on time and pick up my girlfriend from work and whatnot. And thank you for the compliments on the audio tweaking. Yeah, we need to definitely start packing the mics when we go to conventions so that the crowd won't be as big of an issue. With the mics is actually pretty darn good. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty excited as far to reel us back into the topic at hand. I'm pretty excited to see that Cyphers, hopefully, again, this is speculation because he didn't say it verbatim. That the Cyphers will now be broken down by level, which is really cool, and then not by level, by power level, and then maybe by level, and this is where our speculation hooks come in, where if they do it by level, and Monte Cook mentions an article organizing by cipher level and power level, does that mean that Cyphers will now have a static number as their levels, or will it be roll still and they give us an average maybe or something? Either way, I'm all for cutting down on prep and time in games or out of games, whatever. So if they gave us a static number to say, hey, this cipher is just level 4, this cipher is level 6, 8, whatever, right? And then they correlate that number with the power level of the cipher, I think I'm good with that. I think I'm good with that. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it, Charlie. I think that's what we would see. If they do that, they would give the roll and then in parentheses put that number. And again, I think we could see that based on how it's described here, where it's saying he's going to organize it by power level, cipher level. But that aside, that speculation aside, it definitely does seem like they're reorganizing ciphers, or excuse me, recategorizing them. And and it looks like, again, he said, made it even easier to reflect abilities, supernatural, not in different settings. So it sounds like they're also breaking them down by, setting, which they already have, kind of. Each setting had, their own list of kind of, maybe 5 or 10 to 20 ciphers. But I could be wrong, but I do recall in the main cipher book, the current cipher book, we got, a big list of, ciphers and whatnot to use, and then each setting itself had a couple of specialized or a few specialized. It wasn't a huge dramatic amount. So I can see them like kind of compiling the two and just get X, because again, it looks like if you've watched our previous videos talking about this, about the new Cypher edition, it looks like they are very much moving away from the generic. Like, we're not gonna have the generic types. We're not gonna have generic, potentially based on this, generic ciphers, generic artifacts, blah blah blah, because they want to make starting more easily accessible to people who may not want to sit down and customize the types and the items and blah 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 for whatever setting they want to run. So I can see this happening within each setting section of the new Cypher edition, where they break down the fantasy setting, right, and then we get a cipher list, a big cipher list, an artifact list for the fantasy setting along with all the character stuff, and then the same thing for modern, and then the same thing for supers, and blah blah blah. I think that would make a lot of sense. And then there's a little glossary or something that has a list of all of them with page number, for easily, looking them up. Because MCG does like to have their glossaries or whatever at the back of the book, where you can it's gonna be 2 books, right? So they can afford to go chunky with the GM book, right? We're making I guess I'm making an assumption. I don't know if they actually mentioned it. If the page sizes, they could be like the same size, which maybe some people are thinking, but I think we're gonna see a chunkier GM book, and then like maybe a half or 3/4 size player book, maybe. Again, I could be way off. That's just my personal speculation. But yeah, they have room to make chunky books, and they're not known for it, but they're not afraid of chunky books. If you look at Tolas, if you look at the current Cypher core, it's pretty chunky. Yeah, their books get decently chunky, and that probably is what's attributing to that split in the 2 books this time around. Like where we're seeing a player book and a GM book. We haven't seen that for Cypher. It's all been in 1 book. If you have the current Cypher book and the older Cypher books, it's just how it's been. So yeah, I could see that being one of the reasons they decided to split it, was they know the GM side is going to be hella chunky for this. I agree with that, Seraphis. But I think there's still going to be guidance for it, and it's more to make it easier for new GMs or new to the system GMs. And that's a great question too, Spigs. And he's like co-hosting from the chat, from the text chat. What's your guess for page count on each book? That is a great question. Wait, let me see. Do I have my Cypher book right here? How big is the current Cypher? This is the old one. I'm going to look at it anyway. Old Cypher book. Has to be the old one. This one, I rarely look at my books anymore. This book is 411 pages. That's not a little book. And again, but this also, if you're getting new to Cypher or haven't really looked at it much, this book encompasses player stuff, GM stuff, and setting stuff. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in here, so it makes sense that it's 400 plus pages. And if they're breaking it down into 2 books, and it sounds like, again, they're wanting to have more guidance for each setting, right? They want to make like each setting like its own thing. Like, you can just look at the fantasy setting, and you don't even have to look at any other part of the book, and you'll be able to play the game, is what it's sounding like. Again, aside from what Anthony mentioned last stream, where they'll have like, the general rules to play. So you'll read that beginning bit, and then you'll read your setting that you want to play, and that's it. You can ignore everything else. That's kind of what it's sounding like. And, yeah, what DM Tail said here is basically what my mindset was. I wasn't feeling, and this is what DM Tail said, I wasn't feeling great about the split to 2 books, but they've been plotting out or pointing out that the player-facing stuff is expanding so much that makes sense. So much that it makes sense. Yeah, and then not only that, it sounds like the GM stuff is expanding too. And again, I can see the two books having similar content, or maybe I don't know, because it depends. Like, will they want the GM to be able to make pre-gens and whatnot from just the GM book, or will they have to look at the player book to do it? That's a great question. Because if there's still some character stuff in the GM book, no, it wouldn't make sense. See, it's been so long since I've played a game that had the content separated. So like, yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Um, so that DM tells it GM always needs both books, and that makes sense. So yeah, I guess the GM book wouldn't have any player character stuff, right? Just the setting stuff and guidance and the rules and blah blah blah, right? Um, yeah. That again, like Aloof is saying, there's no way they were printed in both books. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's and then going back to Anthony's question of how big do we think the books are going to be, right? Let's take all that information into account. So the player stuff is expanding, right? Because they're separating it by genre, and then they're trying to make each genre stand on its own, right? So that means they're going to have to really flesh it out, right? The types are going to be their own thing. There's going to be genre abilities, and then I'm assuming there's still going to be flavor abilities, right? I could be wrong because they touched on it in the Monte Cook answer, top 5 answer to our answer questions. Someone answered that for me in the chat there. Uh, but yeah, if they're expanding the player stuff, and then of course they're still gonna want setting specific guidance for the GMs, right? And this book right here is already 400 over, like 411, right? I could see with the new edition. Hmm. Damn, this is rough. Maybe like 250 each. And if what I think is possible that the GM book will be no, but if we're thinking that the player side will have all the player options, I feel like the player book is going to be the bigger book if they are bigger. So then I feel like it would be like, well, like 300 to 150, something like that. Maybe 300 to 200, like player to GM book. Or they could just do the round and just make them equal size. I don't know what it is for Discovery and Destiny. It's not exactly the same for those two books because they're different content. Like, there's different things in those books. It's not like a player and a GM. It's like settlement building and then like, the core Numenera stuff. So yeah, we can't even really look at Discovery and Destiny to get a gauge on how we think they do it. And it depends on how much bestiary in the DMG. That's also a good point. How much creature stuff is there going to be in the GM guide? And then there's also the point being that we just got a bestiary. Will they give us like a revamped version of that with like a few cutout like examples like with the converted wound stuff on it? Or will they just give us guidance and say, hey, you already have a full bestiary, use it this way? I can't imagine them not including any, right? So we can definitely assume there's going to be some. But I guess, like Aloof said, it depends on how much. Because we do have that pretty not brand new, but it's fairly recent bestiary. Yeah, and they said one sentence fixes everything, right? IMMC23 pointed out. So they could, again, give us a small entry of, what new creatures look like, and then that guidance on, hey, if you have any old content, this is how you use it. Yeah. And thank you for that, DM Tales. Pointed out Numenera Discovery for 415, Numenera Destiny 416. So almost identical. But I can't see that with a GM book and a player book. Like there has to be some asymmetry there because I can't imagine the GM book having to fill as many pages as would be needed for character options, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's gonna, what you call it, it's gonna be smaller, the GM book. Maybe not by a lot, but I don't think it's going to be as equal as Discovery and Destiny. No way. But, you know, they might do it just for the aesthetic. Like 2 equal-sized books is a nice aesthetic. They'll put anything past the company that made the Black Cube, because aesthetic is, you know, definitely something they consider. So, aesthetically speaking, 2 equal-sized books is nice. Like, you see them, they're just equal. But as far as the actual content we'll see, I don't know. I don't know. And what Aloof says is might be how they balance it out, which is, you know, what I was thinking with how they might even approach the page count was have the GM book stuffed with genre options. And yeah, if they did the route, and again, I don't know if they would do this, of taking all the white books, you know, what our current gen is, and taking all the optional rules from there and compiling them into the new Cypher edition, then yeah, they could definitely like get that page count up. Cause there's quite a bit of stuff in these books. You know, you definitely wouldn't include the mini setting stuff because that doesn't make sense. But definitely all the setting, like the what you call it, the genre specific stuff. That's, you know, the white books are not small books. You know, 200-ish pages. I don't know. I don't want to pull one out because then my books will get unstable and I don't want to deal with a mess. But yeah, this is it's pretty nice. Just to, I guess, go back to our main, you know, topic here. Was the reorganization of Cyphers, and you know, I guess the entirety of Cypher. I'm holding it upside down. Cypher into the new edition, right? That they're just looks like there's a huge focus on reorganization, which I think a lot of people will appreciate, especially newcomers. Because again, not just newcomers. I mean, excuse me. Specifically, I guess, newcomers to the Cypher system, right? Because seasoned GMs or I guess for new GMs too, but seasoned GMs and seasoned GMs who know Cypher system, they don't need, you know, I forget who mentioned it earlier in the stream. I think it was Seraphis, that said, you know, part of the fun for the GM in a Cypher, you know, setting is to make your own stuff, like to tweak it to fit what you're trying to do. And the super in-depth setting, or excuse me, genre specific stuff wasn't super necessary. Like, we were able to make our own wizards from the adept. We were able to make our own barbarians from the warrior, right? That was part of the fun as the GM. But if you're brand new, right? And again, you as a seasoned GM is not losing anything in this, which is the amazing part, right? You're not losing anything. And if anything, you're gaining. Because when they go and do their reorganization like they're doing it in the mindset of, again, of a new person. They don't want to have a new person come and sitting down like, hey, I want to play fantasy. The fantasy section in the Cypher book is only like, you know, 12 page or what, it might be 20 or whatever it is. But it's not like a pretty thick part of the book. And they're like, oh, so, but now I got to make this adept, like, be the wizard, like, what, like, again, us who are seasoned at it, we know how to do this pretty easily, pretty handily. But for new people, it's going to be very great to have it organized this way. And because they're organizing it this way and kind of moving away from the generic, like we've been saying, this section should get beefier, right? Like more content, more substance, like each genre section. And for the season, you know, here's where the positive comes in, is just more content. Like, there's nothing to complain about, even though we might be losing some of that, like, generic guidance or the generic aspect, right? Like, that we love, like, we love making our own barbarian. We love making our own, like, you know, high-tech private eye or whatever, right? But it coming with its own, like, you know, presets, basically, akin to what we see in the setting books. If you look at, you know, Gods of the Fall, Predation, Gunslinger Knights, like all their setting books, all that stuff is already laid out for you. And again, you can go and tweak it to really fit that character you have in mind as the seasoned veteran. You know what you're doing, but as a newcomer, it's a little daunting. We've heard people not complain, but like kind of scratch their heads, like, "Whoa, this is kind of a lot." And then like, especially with supers, like we see a lot of people like, "Oh, so how do I play like this super or that super?" And if they're doing it in this new way where they're breaking things down like super in depth per genre, by logic standpoint, the super setting will have all this guidance people have been asking for. Like, hey, how do I make the speedster? How do I make the super strength guy? Right? And again, we kind of had guidance in that, or we did have guidance in that in Claim the Sky, but that's a whole, another book, whatever, right? And again, this is speculation because we might not even see a super section in the new Cypher core. It might still be, Claim the Sky or its equivalent, right? But I was just using that as an example. The point being is that the sections are getting chunkier, hopefully, by everything they've been saying. And yeah, it's definitely, it looks like an overall positive situation for both newcomers and seasoned Cypher heads alike. And yeah, what Anthony is saying is my mindset. Like, the player's book has to be beefy. Like, it's gonna be beefy. Like, the player, if they're different in sizes, the player book is gonna be the bigger book. And I'm guessing, if we're going by the 400-ish pages of the Cypher core, and this is the old one, new one, I don't know what it is, but I mean, we've been calling ourselves Cypher heads for a little while now. It's on and off what we call ourselves. But what was I saying? I got off track. Oh yeah, if we're going by this book here, and if by my thinking is that the player side is going to be bigger. Because there's going to just need to be so much more content per genre, right? You're going to have, types up to tier 6, and then foci and whatnot up to tier 6, right? So there's a ton of stuff. So yeah, and again, with this book being about 400, a little over 400, I can see it being 300 pages for the player book and then 200 for the GM book, or, maybe even like 175 for the GM book if they're not giving us a super duper heavy amount of optional modules and all that. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like they are. Like, because again, what it sounds like from all their previous updates is they're moving away from that mindset of this is a genre list toolbox for you to play with. Like, here, you can do it for this, you can do it for that. Here's a little guidance on how to do this. Here's a little guidance on how to do that. From what they're saying, each section is going to be filled to the brim, like each genre section filled to the brim with what you need to run that genre. So it's going to have its own types, it's going to have its own foci, it's going to have its own genre abilities. And from this newest article, the Substack article from Monte Cook's, it's going to sound like all the ciphers and artifacts you'll need for that genre will be presented within that section. So yeah, each genre section is gonna be chunky, gonna be pretty chunky, and I'm agreeing with y'all. Like, I'm expecting supers too. Like, supers is too sought after a genre to not include it. I believe even the Cypher core includes, I think that's where they introduced the optional thing of power shifts. Like, that's how it gets introduced, into the whole thing. Was that. So yeah, it would definitely make sense. Like, I think we'll see every single genre we see in the Cypher core book, plus probably like 2-3 others. I don't think Cyberpunk is in the core. Maybe it is, but my 3 guesses, and this is again without having encyclopedic knowledge of the book, is we'll see something about like pirates or high sea adventures, like I don't know what you would call that. Swashbuckling? I don't know. Cyberpunk would be another one. And then possibly, and again, this is very broad, but like that total like what you call it, like anime, like it's not any specific type of anime, but they give you guidance on how to like run an anime type game, because we've talked about this a ton in the past on many videos. Easy way to do that would be like with power shifts and specific subtle ciphers. So I could definitely see them, breaking down, certain genres and be like, here, this is how you would use modern magic. Yeah, probably. But again, it depends. Like, it really depends on how they break things down. Because a big thing of anime tropes is they're very over the top, where power shifts come in. And you don't necessarily see power shifts in modern magic. And again, this is just opinions. I'm just speculating. But yeah, I definitely see them including every single genre that's already in the book, and then like 2 or 3 we haven't seen or haven't seen touched upon. Swashbuckling pirates. No, I'm definitely not discriminating. Oh, they'll be discriminating. I have no idea. But yeah, Zealzad is a space opera, hard sci-fi. Definitely can see that. Superheroes, a lot of people are saying it. Like, there has to be, because supers is just such a popular genre. Exhaustive coverage and every manageable vehicle travel and combat, says Aloof. I definitely could see them adding a vehicle like travel and combat section in a genre section where it would be heavily present. That makes sense, because again, they're trying to really get the feel of each genre, it sounds like, from how they're retooling everything. So yeah, I could see them having very, not, I wouldn't say for every imaginable, but definitely, some extensive vehicle stuff. Not super duper crazy, but definitely something. Dang, talking for 40 minutes straight almost. This is a lot. Oh boy, how do these solos like content creators do this? Oh, but yeah. Have a good night, DM Tales. Thank you for stopping in. Chatting it up. Sorry, I'm getting tired myself. It's really hard. But thank you everybody. Not just DM Tales, but coming in and chatting. I'm not signing off just yet, but just thanking you guys, because this is crazy. Just being alone, I mean. But yeah, what Aloof said, I'm down for whatever they crank out. To TBH, to be honest. Because like Anthony and basically everyone's been saying, these past couple of weeks or few weeks that we've been getting these updates about the new edition, let Monte cook. He is very good at what he does. Not just him, but his whole team. They're quite good at what they do. So when they go to make changes, when they go to make new books, like anything they do, they put a few highlights here. They're all behind it, which is they're not just half-assing it. They really want to do what they're doing, and they put all their passion behind it. Monte Cook wouldn't be writing or creating a new edition of Cypher if he didn't truly believe the new edition is better, will run better, and will answer complaints we've been having, not just us seasoned people, but new people, to the current iteration of the Cypher system. I guess I should call it Cypher system, because it's still the Cypher system. So yeah, regardless of what they do, like, I know we're really like trying to dig deep on each update and each thing they put out about the new edition. It's gonna be great. Let's be real. It's gonna be great, and I know it's kind of biased for me to say that, because look where you are, Cypher Unlimited. We're the Cypher guys. But just like, again, even people who I gotta know a ton of people who are outside of the community space but still read Monte Cook Games products, they still very much enjoy them. Like, I have a few friends, like personal real life friends, who are like, they're on the Discord, like on the Cypher Unlimited Discord, but they don't participate or anything. They just join because it's my thing. But they avidly collect Monte Cook Game stuff. Like my good friends Nita and Aaron, they have the Black Cube. They have a bunch of Monte Cook Games books. I think they even got into Numenera before me. Like I believe they got it in the original, Kickstarter or whatever it was. And they don't only play Monte Cook game stuff. Like Monte Cook just does good stuff. So yeah, definitely. Even if you're not a huge fan like us here in the community, it's gonna be worthwhile to check out the new thing they put out, because again, let Monte cook. Everything he's put out has been home run. And I know it's super biased coming from me, coming from us. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be good. And I know actually I know I said it a little bit on air, but off air I was very much with Anthony and Dean and whoever else we were on call with before going on air. I was saying like I'm very skeptical about this new edition. Like, we didn't need it. Why is it 2 books? Like, it doesn't, like, we have one. Why do you want to make us carry around 2 books? But the way all the changes have been discussed and all the reorganization ideas and recategorizing and just how it's being I guess marketed, I guess would be the best word, marketed towards the ease of play with all this genre specific stuff. And then again, as a veteran player, it just means you're going to get more, knobs and dials and options to play with. So like, it's a win-win. New players, new GMs, new people get an easier time playing Cypher, whatever genre, whatever they want to do with it, right? And then us veterans get all that new stuff. Win-win. And I guess win-win kind of win, or, I guess settle your nerves. I don't know what to call this, like, section is all your old stuff is going to work. All your older books, all these books here that I have, they're still going to be compatible, like, with all the new stuff. It's just going to be a small section, I assume, in the new book that'll tell you, hey, this is how you do wounds for older creatures. Hey, this is how you would maybe even out the playing field with old player characters and new player characters. Even though I don't think there's going to be much power level, disparity. It sounds like they're more just changing how you progress instead of adding things for character creation, that is. So yeah, like, all the old character stuff fully compatible. Again, the biggest change might be that skill tree type situation they got going on the new foci they mentioned. I believe it was either a foci or type or whatever. So there's gonna be like a progression where you can have options on where you pick things, right? If anything, you need to go back to older stuff and make your own skill tree. But as veteran Cypher players, that's easy. Once we see how the new ones are done, we could definitely go back and take, let's see, let me just pick up a random foci or whatever. Shit, I did not go to a page with random foci, but you could just pick a random foci and just build your own skill tree type thing on it. Like, and that's fun. And if you don't want to do that, you just use, newer stuff. And again, I am positive, even if, like, you don't want to do it yourself, there's going to be guidance on how to, like, count for old player character options being used within the new Cypher stuff, right? Dances with Dark Matter is one of my favorite foci, actually. I love those abilities. There's actually quite a few of those abilities in the Entropic Isle, in that random, like, chaos magic list. I love those. But point being, even if you don't want to do it yourself, I cannot fathom that they wouldn't put guidance within the new edition on how to tool the old character creation stuff to be useful or used within the new character, make them comparable, so to speak. Yeah, so I think it's going to be awesome all around, just as, I guess, an ending point here, because I'm surprised I even talked for 50 minutes. But yeah, this ending point cap, I guess, gonna be great. All this reorganization stuff sounds fantastic. And I guess circling back to what our main topic was, Cyphers and the new edition. the fact that, again, Monte Cook seems to be describing it further, that ciphers will be broken down by genre and then by power level. It's giving, hey, we're gonna make each genre section almost like a mini white book. It feels like, right? Like it's gonna have its own types, it's gonna have its own ciphers, it's gonna have its own artifacts, it's gonna have its own rules modules, right? So I definitely get that vibe that each section of the new edition is just gonna be like a mini white book, each genre section. And again, going back to the main topic, is we'll see an extensive cipher and artifact section in each of those genre sections, right? It just makes sense because they want you to be able to just pick up the book, look at the setting, the genre you want to run, and run it. So yeah, that definitely, if you're making assumptions or speculations, that's a pretty good one to bank on based on everything they've been saying. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see more genre specific ciphers, because again, another thing, not a lot of people, but mostly newcomers, and this is what they're aiming to fix, it seems like, is they don't know when they look at the generic cipher list, like, hey, how do I make let me just look, how do I make an enduring shield work in modern? Like, how do I make Farsight work in low level supers? Like, what exactly would Farsight be in low level super? Even though that's a little silly of a one, because Farsight could just be Farsight in supers. But either way, you get what I'm saying. I'm definitely excited. Definitely excited. And I'm. It would be cool to see that too. I am MCM Charlie are saying this. I want campaign sentences. That would be very cool to see, where each part of your sentences or each part of your campaign sentence is like little additions or changes to the setting, and then you can go in the book and look at, like, hey, the risky campaign setting includes this stuff or whatever, right? That would be pretty neat. But that's more speculation for another time. I should wrap up because I need to go pick up my girlfriend from work. And I have been rambling. Let me finish off my water because I'm going to need this for the ending spiel. Woo! But thank you guys so much for coming on, chatting with me. Thank you, Anthony, for being in the text chat and kind of like co-piloting from behind the wheels here. Behind the wheel there, I should say, while he's still actively babysitting. Yeah, and I appreciate everybody, the kudos. I did not expect to run as long as I did. I honestly thought we were going to be here for like 5 minutes after reading the article. So yes, thank you guys so much for chatting it up with me. I don't think I would have been able to ramble as well without someone to speak to. So yes, it's very appreciated that you guys came on to chat with us, or with me. So yes, thank you so much. And for those who haven't, be sure, just as a quick sign off before I go into the spiel, check out the stuff from Monte Cook Games. You see linked here and down below. You can sign up to be notified via email when they put out updates about the new edition. You can check out the Cypher System Design Library, or Diary, being, I believe, written mostly by Monte Cook. There is a backlog of entries to check out. We've been covering them in each of them in our videos, or almost each of them, as it pertains to the new Cypher edition. And then now there's also Monte Cook Substack, which we should start checking out more often. You can see the link to the article we discussed there, and then also check out the rest of the links there to his other articles about RPG design theory. And with that being said, another reminder, I guess, before going to the Ultra Spiel, because the bot reminded me, if you haven't looked at games for CypherCon 2025, be sure to check out the Sign Up Genius and the Discord at the links just posted and the links down below. You can still sign up to play games. There's still plenty of games with seats open, and plenty of awesome games to be run by people like Gonza Gaming, Underground Oracle, KedHup, our very own Spigs18 and Alpha Dean, and many others. Just check it out. You can see all the games there. Charlie's running a game. I wish I could name drop more people. Aloof is running a game, I believe. What is it? Crazy Weasel Devin's running a game. I believe Sarah. I feel like I wrote Seraphis as a GM somewhere, but I could be filling that in with my mind because I keep seeing your name in the chat. But I'm the one who wrote all those game description cards, and all that information kind of blends. So yeah, definitely go check out all those games by all these wonderful GMs from the Cypher Unlimited community. A lot of wonderful games to be had. Yeah, definitely a lot of different genres too, since we've been talking about different genres. There, that's the beauty of Cypher System and our wonderful community. Everybody likes different things, and Cypher System makes it easy to run whatever you want to run. So yeah, if you're brand new to Cypher, check it out. Or if you haven't checked out the games yet, check out all the games. There's bound to be something that you will like to play. And with that being said, if you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord. It is the biggest fan-run community for all things Monte Cook games. There's many games being run and even conventions that I just spoke about. But if Discord is not for you, we also have a Facebook group. Not as big as our Discord, but there's definitely lots of but chat being had there. Because again, some people just prefer Facebook. So if that's your preferred chat method, definitely hit up that website, join the group, and join in on some of our discussion there. And if you want to support us, another thing you should go check out is the YouTube page. It helps our community or our channel out greatly. So definitely check that out. Give us a follow, subscribe there, and follow us here on Twitch. Any comments and whatnot, likes you can leave on our YouTube videos are greatly appreciated too, because they help with things like the algorithm and getting more eyes on our videos. And also, mostly newly, check out the Anywhere door on Moonbeam, which is again Monte Cook Games platform where they're trying to build up and have as many Monte Cook Games content creators as they can on the platform. We're also live there currently, but if you haven't checked it out, be sure to check it out. You probably like Monte Cook Games content, so definitely go check that out there if you can. Our videos will always be free, but if you want to support us financially, you can always give us a little donation on Ko-Fi, or you can go to our merch store and and buy some cool merch. We also have the CypherCon 2025 designs up there. One designed by my husband Sin, and one by one of our golden ones, Ketup, or not just our golden ones, but avid Monte Cook content creator Ketup. We got two designs on there, so definitely check them out. Both are amazing. So if you haven't looked at them, definitely go check them out. Even if you don't intend to buy them, just go check them out. They're really cool. And yeah, but again, our videos are always free, so if you can't support us financially in any way, do not worry. Our videos will always be available to you. I think I hit all the marks. Yeah, so thank you everyone for coming and chatting with me. This has been a blast. Again, didn't think I would last this long as a solo stream, but here we are. And thank you again, Monte Cook and Monte Cook Games, for putting out these great updates on the new edition. It definitely helps ease most people's minds about the upcoming changes. I would just say that if we could get all the changes all at once, I mean, if you don't want to give them to the public, you could just give them to us. I won't tell anybody. But yeah, it'd be nice to know what everything all that's gonna change. But with due time, and again, they never disappoint. So as an ending point, we just gotta let Monte cook. And with that being said, from us at the CU, we will see you later.